last week I got a job offer and I accepted it, and I'm not gonna start until next week, but during this past week I just went through the interview notes and look at the concepts of technologies that were used at the company that I'm not familiar with. For example, they have an automation framework written in Python and I don't know Python. They also asked about a little bit about Selenium Grid, and so I just decided to spend time to just do a proof of concept project and put together what I learned over the past week or so, like about best how to code in Python. And then I also know that it's good practice to write the automation framework in page object model. I did that for C#, like that. In my previous company, I wrote automation framework in C#, as I just wanted to see how to transition those code to Python. And then also I wanted to work with Selenium Grid to see how it is. And then so here's my project. I must say it was challenging, because concepts in C# doesn't really translate to Python that easily. Like I can go from C# to Java pretty easily, but going to Python I ran into a lot of errors. And so let me just first show you what it does. So I have 1, 2, 3 tests, and this one is making sure that the search bar is displayed. So go to Google and make sure that I can see the search bar there on the main page, on the home page. And then the other two is when there's a erroneous search, then the result count is 0. Otherwise, then when there's a valid search keyword, then I want to see that the result count is more, that there are a few result counts there. So it's just 3 tests. And then Selenium Grid, how I did that is in request homepage, in the base page, that is all of my pages is going to inherit from the base page. And the base page, there's no multiple constructor, there's only one constructor in Python. And to kind of simulate multiple constructor is just taking an argument list, and if there's only one, the very first argument is going to be the config file, which I'll explain later. And then if there's 2 arguments, then the second one will be the driver. But if there's only 1 argument, then create a driver, so launch, read from the configuration file, and then call webdriver.remote to connect to the hub, and let the test run, let the hub run the test. So for the hub, the Selenium Grid, so first you have to go to the dev download and download the jar file. It's going to, this is my jar file. I put everything in Selenium Grid. And then you also have to search and download the Chrome driver. So this has to match the Chrome driver exe is whatever version of Python, Chrome that you're using. So you can find that out Chrome, and then find the Chrome driver matching that version. So obviously here you probably have the Gecko driver for Firefox and other stuff, but I'm just trying it with Chrome first. And then you can then go to wherever you put these information and type cmd to open. So I'm running it all on one computer, so one of this is going to be my hub and this one is going to be my node. To this one, and this is the, I'll put the commands in and this information in the description also. So run that. It's gonna tell you where the node should be registered to and where the client should connect to. And so you can then go like replace the correct information here. You also have to tell it where the Chrome driver is, and I'm sure there's gonna be other the Firefox driver, you would do the same similar thing. And then I also put a timeout of 60 because I found that during my development, like sometimes the test will finish, but the node would not release the Chrome instance. So then I just put a timeout so that it will, you know, clean up quicker. I'm not sure how to get around that problem yet, except for the timeout situation. People use timeout, the timeout option online too, but there might be a better way of doing it. Right now, that's what I'm doing for now. So on this command prompt, I'm gonna run my node. So now the node is registered, and then you can just do where the grid is, you then put console to kind of view the console. So you see, if you go to the console, it will tell you like, yeah, there's 5 instances of Firefox, 5 instances of Chrome, and 1 instance of the IE that you can run on this node. And then so once the node and the hub is up, then just go back to here and then run the Python test. So there's gonna be 3 tests total. So oops, you saw that it kind of did something, but I'll move it over here so you can see. And then this one. Okay, so it did all that and it checked. So then the result is 100% pass. So that's the test, and then you can download, you can have a copy of it right here. I guess I will put it here also. Okay, so then I'm gonna go back to the test. So my overall impression about this whole process was that I don't like Python very much. It's I like the stricter like coding style where you define the type and everything. There's a lot more IntelliSense that I had access to when using C# and Java. Like for Python, it was a nightmare debugging. Like once when I was trying to find like this one, so I tried to convert from my Java code to this code, and so in Java I can have 2 constructor, and when I converted this, I made sure I just said that the first parameter is the config file, and then in my code I actually swapped it and it wouldn't run, and it kept on giving me like an error like that I didn't understand. And so it took a while, it took me like probably an hour or so to track down the issue, debug like line by line to finally figure out, oh, I switched the parameter, where, you know, in C# or Java, if I did something stupid like that, like it would have given me a compile time error. And so like I didn't like how hard it was to like just debug, or maybe because I'm not used to it yet, but I find that it's the flexibility that come with the language, the maintenance, especially for a big like, you know, for a big project, is going to be high. And it's just, I think it's going to be a maintenance nightmare if we do the automation framework in Python. So I guess I'll bring that up and see why they chose Python as the language. So that's one thing. I found out that, you know, like there are strict naming conventions. Like for example, I have to put test underscore, and then the test class needs to start with test. This is for like Python or for PyTest to automatically like locate tests. And so strict naming convention, like this name has to be conf_test.py, I believe. And so like just stuff like that that I didn't appreciate. Yeah, like for example, I ran into empty suite while running test cases error, and that's just due to naming convention errors that I ran to when the block that helped me is listed here. I also use, you know, I followed this website video here to get the page object model and Python Selenium working. So you can follow that here, and then I follow these two tutorial to do the Selenium Grid part. And then my next step is probably going to find out like how to do BDD testing with this project. And so I'm going to look more into that, either with Cucumber or Behave. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do yet, but that's what I want to do next. And so this is, I hope, the overview, and I hope my starter project helped you guys to poke around and do more with Selenium Grid and just page object model. And I hope that I put my starter project has a lot of best practices. I'm going to then just run through the code so that you kind of like know what it is. So I talk about these test file already, where it houses my test methods. The conf_test.py is to do the test fixture, so the setup and tear down. So this is a fixture. It's going to call another fixture called config. This config is going to remain for the session, and the config is just, it opens the config.json, and this is where I put all the test like environment information, and it's going to read that and make sure that everything that I desire in the configuration file is here, and then it's going to send that and create a home page object from it. It's going to set that into the test page object, and then it's going to run the test, and then it's going to tear down. So this is the setup, and this is the tear down. And in my base test, I tell it to use the home page fixture for the base test. So it's always going to launch the website on the home page. And then all the test classes inherit from the base test, and then it can have access to this page object that I set through the setup method. And then the JSON, and then on the pages side, the base page, it I already kind of went over the constructor, that if one only passes in the config, then it's gonna start a new it's gonna connect to the hub so that it can start the test on a node, and with the desired capabilities that you pass in, it's going to, and then the home page specifically will then, in the constructor, is going to also go to the base URL, the URL specified in the config.json. So right here in the constructor, it overrides the parent constructor and say go to home page. And then all the like things that the home page can do, it does in here. On the search result page, everything it also inherit from the base page, and everything that it can do, it has methods for it. The base page also have this one, the wait method and the find method. And the find method basically just use explicit wait, which is this WebDriver.wait, which reads from the config file to know how long to wait for an object. And so I read that you should mix implicit and explicit wait, and it's recommended to use explicit wait. And so I just I had that information in here. I found so in my C# code in the home page, I actually have go to home page here. I mean, in the base page, I have different go to different pages depending on, you know, the page that you want to get. But if I do go to home page here, I need to import home page here. And because my home page already have base page in it, because it's inherent base page, Python will give me a circular import error. And the only way to get rid of that is to not have anything about home page here, and just let the constructor do the go to home page. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope this code makes sense to you with that explanation. So hopefully you'll find it useful.